Welcome back to the Takeout. Welcome to the Conversation Corner. You know I love hanging out here. Government shutdown, well, you know it, I know it, entering its fourth week. House, you might not know this, but it's true, remains in recess, not operating at all. That's at Speaker Mike Johnson's direction. And he says it's not going to come back into any kind of session until the government reopens, which means it's a Senate thing. Maybe, maybe not. Maryland Democratic Congressman Johnny Olszewski joins me now. Well known to his friends as Johnny O. I'm not sure if I'm a friend, if I qualify, but Johnny, it's great to have you here.
You qualify, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
You heard Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz said direct Medicaid dollars in certain states in this country are going to undocumented immigrants in violation of federal law, and Democrats are not reopening the government because they want to turn that spigot back on.
We're not trying to change well-established federal law. And if there's a violation of federal law, if there's fraud in Medicaid, that should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And if it's happening currently, it's happening under this administration's watch. And so I would encourage the Trump administration to take a look at what's happening and to enforce federal law working with states. I don't think anyone wants to see the law violated, and current law is very clear. If you are undocumented, you are not eligible for Medicaid.
But you are among the House Democrats that object to changes in the so-called One Beautiful Bill, Big Beautiful Bill, that impose new work requirements and other stipulations to even qualify for Medicaid.
You know, the truth of the matter is that most people are already working. And so the vast majority the vast majority of people on Medicaid are already working. And so I think it's a little bit of a distraction from the issue and the billions of dollars of cuts that are made both there as well as food benefits with SNAP and TANF for hardworking Americans who are just trying to get by. And in exchange for what? In exchange for ballooning our deficit and for one of the largest wealth transfers from the working class to the ultra wealthy in this country. And so we're seeing that again now, where there's a lack of desire to come together during the shutdown and extend the subsidies for almost 20 million Americans who rely on those subsidies to make health care affordable. I mean, we're staring at up to $3,000 tax increase. That's what it is. If we don't act, we're going to raise taxes on hardworking Americans across this country. In addition to people who are lucky enough to have an employer-based health care plan, those rates are going to go up too.
Johnny O, based on differing estimates, the range 5 million to 7 million Americans participated this Saturday in No Kings protests. Here's the President of the United States and his reaction.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. I'm not a king. I work my off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Johnny O. Congressman, forgive me.
That's fine.
Either way.
That's what everybody back home calls me. Look, it's not a joke. It is exercising one of the most fundamental rights that we have as Americans, to go out there and peaceably demonstrate against our government. Free speech is a bedrock of our Constitution, of our democracy. And actually what was disheartening and was disappointing was to see the president, after millions of Americans showed up to protest many of his actions, he then posted an AI-generated video of him literally putting feces over Americans. I mean, it is beneath the dignity of that office, and it is deeply disturbing and concerning to me.
And when he says, looking at the crowds, they're not representative of what America is, what does that suggest to you?
I think that it means the president needs to go back to my American government class. I was an American government teacher before coming to Congress, and, you know, this is what our country is all about having that robust discourse. And actually, Congress and the Trump administration could probably learn something by going to these protests and these rallies and actually talking to the people who showed up. I attended 2 this past weekend. There was no George Soros. There was no organized. These were average people coming out because they were concerned about any number of issues of what they're seeing from this administration, and they want to see change.
Congressman, your district, Baltimore County, how many federal workers?
We have over 20,000 federal workers in my district alone.
Are they burning up your phone saying, end this shutdown so I can get paid?
Absolutely.
But they want you to do something different, or they want you to do exactly what you're doing?
But they also want us to do something about the healthcare costs. What's that?
Do they want you to end it and capitulate or give in, or do they want you to keep fighting?
They want to go back to work, but they also want us to address this looming healthcare crisis. And so we are hearing from...
You're not getting any static on that?
Of course. Look, these 3 things I know are true about the shutdown. One is that our federal employees are taking the brunt of this. They have mortgages to pay, kids to feed. That Americans are also suffering through this, where our food isn't being inspected, our airlines are being canceled because we don't have enough air traffic controllers. And that 3, Americans want us to just sit down in a room and actually have a conversation. I think we should lock the president and the leadership of both parties in a room and not let them come out until something happens. I mean, it is so frustrating to me that Speaker Johnson has now canceled votes for the third week in a row. Congress is not working. Meanwhile, Americans are dealing with a cost of living crisis that is crushing them at home. And so we could do so much to address that, whether it's housing, childcare, electric bills. Congress should be in session addressing that and releasing the Epstein files.
And when Congress isn't in session, the Speaker has said Adelita Grijalva, Congresswoman-elect from Arizona, Tucson District, cannot be sworn in. The implications of that?
I can't explain that. So you have a speaker who has now violated all of the norms and standards, including the ones that he set. Speaker Johnson said, whenever she wants it, and she said immediately. He said she deserves pomp and circumstance in her family. She said, I don't care about that. He said, I'll follow the Pelosi standard. We're now well beyond that, too, in terms of the number of days to swear in a representative there. Representative-elect Grijalva has been duly elected. She has been certified by her state. It is one of the most basic tenets of our democracy that we deserve representation, and the people of Arizona are being denied that representation, and there's only one reason that makes sense. She would be the last signature on the discharge petition to force the vote on the Epstein files, and for the life of me, I can't understand why Speaker Johnson, who's a father just like me, would want to protect and is taking action to protect sexual predators. I just think it's wrong.
He has told me twice on this program that the Oversight Committee investigation is good enough. I don't need a discharge petition.
I just think the American people don't buy that. I certainly don't buy that. We should have released these files years ago. And so I think we should be acting with urgency, with haste. There's no reason that we rushed in to pass this big, ugly bill that saddled our children with debt, that took away all the health care and the food benefits. There's no reason we can't have that same sense of urgency of holding the rich and the powerful who abuse children accountable in this circumstance.
The Speaker has said this week it's possible there could be floor votes on paying federal workers and providing direct appropriations for the military. Would you support both of those?
Absolutely. And I am already on a letter urging the Speaker to do that. So I do urge Speaker Johnson to bring us back. Let's do our job. Let's pay our military. But let's also address this cost of living crisis that all of America is struggling with.
Maryland Democratic Congressman John, no one calls him John, they call him Johnny. Olszewski, Johnny O. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Please come back.
Will do.